Hello, and welcome to this episode of Hampton Roads Business Live. My name is Roy Graham, and I'm your host. And today I have the pleasure of having with me Heather Hughes of Heather Hughes Photography, the head honcho herself. Okay. Well, nice to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
And why don't we just start with you giving us an overview of what you do?
Okay.
I mean, we know it's photography.
Right.
Tell us a little more.
Right. Well, I started as a newspaper photographer.
That's good.
So
we were talking about that.
Yes,
yeah.
we were talking about that. And so I do a lot of weddings and portraits, newborns, families, and I'm starting to get into seniors as well. So pretty editorial work as well.
Okay, so why don't we just unpack that a little bit? Tell us, because you just covered two questions I had. So why don't we talk about your weddings? Is this just in the South Side or the Peninsula or what?
Wait, I'm actually in Newport News.
Okay.
So I'm centrally located. My coverage area goes from Richmond all the way down to Virginia Beach.
All the way to Richmond. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Because I'm closer to the Williamsburg line, so I cover the whole area.
What do you like doing most about weddings?
Well, I've always enjoyed photography because of the moments.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing that drew me to weddings is that it is a big milestone in people's lives. It's a chance for the families to get together, the friends to get together, and I really enjoy capturing those moments that they're going to want to revisit and relive for the rest of their lives. So, that emotion and that time that they're having together is...
When you say you do portraits, is this at a studio?
No, I do them mostly on location. I do have...
those fancy on location.
Right.
Those were pretty, yeah.
Yeah. I have a portable studio that I use mostly for my newborns because they can't be outside in the elements when they're that little. So I have like a backdrop that I set up.
So you do newborns after the mothers come home and things, and they schedule you to come to their house and do it?
Yeah, typically newborns are within the first 2 weeks. So
Oh,
when the babies are still really little and curly and yeah, the babies are always cute, but
all right.
I find it makes it easier for the mothers. I have a son myself, and sometimes it's hard to be out and about, and it's easier at your home because you have everything at your fingertips that you need to try to help the baby be happy. So coming to their home can make things easier, and I can easily set up in their living room or in the nursery, with the backdrop. But I like to get some of the lifestyle photos too, so it's not just a portrait experience. It's also, some candid moments of them, like on the couch or in the rocking chair. Things that are a little more natural and meaningful as time goes by, because it's not just a prop in a studio. That's actually part of their family history that I'm getting in the pictures. So.
All right, and how about awards?
Awards.
Yes, have you won awards?
I have a few. A few. Yeah, as a newspaper photographer, I won a lot of awards through the Virginia Newspaper Association, Virginia Press Association, National Press Association. As a wedding photographer, I've been winning the Wedding Wire Couples Choice Award since Wedding Wire began about 10 years ago.
Well, that's impressive.
Yeah, I've gotten the Not Best of Award for the last few years, and the Virginia Living Magazine's Award for the last 3 years. So,
okay.
yeah.
All right, and there's a lot of photographers. That's an understatement.
There are, and videographers.
You got that right. And now you got the iPhone crowd.
Yeah.
So what makes you stand out? What maybe you can kind of separate yourself there a little bit.
Right. Well, I went to school for photojournalism. That was my passion. From the time I was very little, perfecting my skills was important to me. So what I bring to wedding and portraits is unique because I do have that background, and I've photographed day in, day out under good conditions and bad conditions.
Well, I know how that is.
And weddings and portraits, as much planning as goes into them, they're still not controlled. There's a lot of things that happen, especially with lifestyle and on location. You have to deal with different weather environments, different personalities, and you really have to be able to think on your feet.
Like I said, it's a great training ground, isn't it?
It is. So, I bring that storytelling style to my photos. So while they'll look beautiful, everybody wants beautiful looking photos, I really focus on trying to get that emotion and personality in the pictures. So it's not just a beautiful scene, it's also telling you something about that moment, about that person. So those photos are meaningful on several layers.
So when people, let's say they have a wedding, what's the process they do? They call you and you have an appointment with them, and do you ask them what they want, besides where it is and all that, but do you ask them what they're interested in, or what?
Yeah.
I haven't. I'm not a photographer. I know what we tell them.
Right.
When we used to tell them in video when we did it, but as photographers, it's totally different.
Right. Well, and weddings are different, a little different than portraits. There's usually a lot more planning that goes into it. Portraits tend to be a little more last minute, in comparison. But with weddings, I still like to meet with people whenever possible, even if it's through Skype, just because it gives us a chance to get to know each other. And with weddings, as well as portraits, but especially with weddings, you spend a lot of time with your photographer, not just before, talking about the timeline and the portraits that you want, but the day of, you're with them more than anyone else. I mean, you don't even see your fiance as much as your photographer that day. And we're one of the few that you're in contact with afterwards, because of course you're getting the pictures, you might be getting an album or prints. So it's really important that our personalities get along well and that you feel comfortable, working with that person. So I really like to have that meeting with them before, and then, the day of, I do work with a lot of people from out of town, so we don't always have a chance to do a face-to-face, but if we can at least have that conversation or that Skype call so that we have that chance to sort of get to know each other,
Skype call
helps. A lot of photographers will do an engagement session to try to help those people feel more relaxed and comfortable, and I'm happy to do that, but it's not necessary. I feel like I have that experience with newspapers getting people comfortable quickly.
Well, you're an artistic medium, and you're under combat conditions in a live event, because it's happening. You can't stop it, and it's just rolling like a freight train. So, so you have to think on your feet, and so if you know what they want, and you know what they're looking for, and all, it helps you a lot. So it helps the relationship. So that's great. Now you've been in business here 10 years. And my last question was, what have you learned, and advice for people trying to find the right photographer, besides giving them your phone number?
Well, yeah, and I'm not right for everybody. So I think it's, what I've learned as a business is that you never stop learning. I mean, it's important. We all have our strengths and weaknesses, and definitely, I studied photojournalism, so my strengths are getting those candid moments and that emotion and having good composition and light. And so I've learned posing and lighting over the course of my career. I've spent more time on that, as well as marketing on the business side of things, but because that wasn't my strength. But that as a business person, you always try to make your weaknesses stronger. So I'm always working on that, but without losing sight of my style. My style is still that candid emotion, and I don't want to lose that, but I can help that. I know lighting, I know posing, so I can make those photos, those candid moments, a little better than what you would get with your iPhone, without the training and experience. And I think everyone, if they're looking for a photographer, definitely look at the photos online. But like I said, it's good to at least talk with the person or meet with them if you can.
Because you have to have a good match.
Right.
You really do.
You do. And even if it's a portrait. I mean, we've all probably had that experience at some point with the mall photo at JCPenney's or something, or even school pictures, where they're just trying to get that smiling at the camera shot, and it never looks as good. And there's a reason for that, because you don't have that connection with that photographer, and it doesn't, I can get that connection with somebody in a few minutes, but it's important that you have someone that you feel like you can get that connection with. Because if you're uncomfortable and you're just not clicking, you're going to see that in the photos. And photos, they're more than just how they look. I mean, you're remembering that moment. You're remembering what you heard, you're remembering what you could smell, you remember the things that happened before and after that picture, and you want those to be good memories. You don't want to remember how uncomfortable you were and how much you didn't like the experience. You want to remember how much you liked it. So.
Well, is there anything I haven't mentioned that you wanted to mention? I covered my list.
Yeah, I know, right? A short list. gosh, no.
Yeah? Okay,
I
so I
can't
did a
think
good
of
job.
anything.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, cool.
Yeah.
Well, if you are interested in photography, I'm sorry, if you're interested in hiring a photographer, not photography, but if you're interested in hiring a great photographer, you can give Heather a call. Her contact information is on this page. It's also at the end of this video, and I'm sure she would like to connect with you and help you find hopefully a good match there with her in doing a photography for your event or your portrait. Okay.
Absolutely.
So check her out, and I wish you a great deal of success. Been around 10 years. You're doing pretty good.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks.
All right.